So sad. And aren't we lucky that I'm now here to give direction to that malice of yours? We shall destroy all those that oppose us. We shall trample over the current world and place it under our command. We shall rule all and everything under our despotic heel. Don't you think it's a grand idea? Said Sana.
The girl on the throne addressed the boy standing in front of her. He looked at her with unbelieving eyes.
I finally reached the end of the river. Oddly enough, the water itself stopped here, forming a small lake. The ever-running water never seemed to overflow, probably vanishing from the bottom of the lake somehow. The smell of death tingled my nostrils. I could see countless bodies littering the road. Imagine they all died fighting. Some had their heads missing. Some were split in half. All of them, however, were positively scorched at the area around their wounds. Was Lilith using fire magic? No, that probably wasn't the case. She would have had to use fire the very same instant her sword slit her opponent to leave burn marks inside the wounds like that. My best guess was that she was using a burning sword. The bodies were still warm, in other words, she was close. I let a sigh of relief, praying that my guess wasn't wrong. I proceeded onwards with hope leading my steps. The surrounding land was the color of dull crimson, both the ground and cliffs surrounding me. Everything else was shrouded in darkness. I guess one should have expected the deepest layer of hell to feel like a dark cellar. Each breath I exhaled turned to white mist and vanished. I suddenly spotted black ash raining down from above. Dancing in air like snow, the beauty of the display was straight from a nightmare. I pressed onward, step by step. Suddenly, a bad premonition pierced my chest. Was I too late? The freezing air, the freezing space. I couldn't feel the heat of battle from anywhere in this gloomy place. I could quite imagine the two agreeing to a peaceful resolution. Could everything have already concluded? In the end, my bad premonition hit the bullseye, as always.
Don't you think it's a great idea? Said Sana.
Was the Lilith on the throne the one I knew? Or...
Something wrong, said Sana?
That's my line. What happened to you? She smiled and raised a lock of her hair with her fingers.
Oh, is this what's bothering you? Would you be angry if I said I dyed it?
Not really. Looks good on you. She had a hearty chuckle at my answer. A truly jovial laugh from the very bottom of her heart.
Thanks. I imagine you met the other me's on your way here.
I nodded, where she made a very curious face.
Which one was your favorite?
What are you?
Sickly leader kind of woman? Or the little girl version of myself? Or maybe...
Then the answer is you. She made a satisfied nod. What would have happened if I told her that little Lilith was my favorite?
Could have broken your nose.
I wish for some privacy, at least inside my heart. Lilith, what's going on? A vague question had more implication than I could bother to count.
What's going on, huh? Don't you think it's kind of clear given that I'm on a throne here, smirking at you?
I gulped, though it was far from enough to alleviate my tension. I made a stern face. You trying to say you're on the other side now? She smiled, matching the smile to Lilith I knew.
Yes, exactly. I suppose the main issue you're wrestling with in your mind right now is the nature of my being. For example, if I were possessed,
She clapped her hands.
you could just kill me and be done with it. End it all with a kind of, I'll remember you forever in my heart, sad but inspiring twist.
I suppose that's an option.
And what if I'm just being manipulated like a doll? What if the miserable Lilith became a puppet to the forces planning to take over the world? In the end, I'd of course regain my wits through the power of love. How's your power of love these days? Ugh, don't go silent on this one part.
Should probably be fine. At least, I think I love you enough.
Thanks.
She looked away from me, embarrassed. Everything from her voice to her mannerism was like the Lilith I knew. And for some inexplicable reason, all the cells in my body screamed that an enemy now stood in front of my eyes.
Well, things aren't that convenient in the real world. As you can see and hear, hopefully feel, I'm just myself, not anybody else.
Indeed, she was Lilith through and through, and yet,
Unfortunately for you, Setsuna, I think I'm going to put that hatred of hers to use.
she made a smile. A bad premonition finally began taking shape. Lilith was Lilith. But at the same time, something cardinal had changed inside her. What was she referring to? Hers?
Yes, I shall destroy the world. I shall crush all and everything, including myself.
She made a dreadful declaration, an affectionate smile. Silence took over the surrounding air. Under the falling snowflakes of black snow, she made a clear declaration of war to the world. You won't tell me you're kidding?
Indeed, if I only said that, it would be the end of everything. I don't think I've spent enough time with you to call our peaceful days together that kind of relationship. But
We have enough time for that later.
we would have had enough time for that later. However, it seems that possibility has vanished without trace for eternity. Unfortunate, truly unfortunate. But we can do nothing about it. Nothing at all. Now I am an enemy to the world, enemy to God, an enemy to mankind, and enemy to both demons and angels alike. And an enemy to you too, says Cristina.
Can't you go back? She gently smiles before waving my question off.
I won't.
Such was her answer. She chose this path of her own free will.
Well, Setsuna, it seems it's finally clear where we stand. We're facing each other, ex-comrades, now deadly foes. Come, destroy me.
Indeed, we had to fight. One of us had to die.
If you don't, I'll kill you right here and now. It's not that hard for me the way I am now.
Could tell she was serious from her ice-cold face. Ready to destroy Tendo Setsuna. Had no idea how strong she supposedly was, but I hardly had an alternative right now. To battle, you came to save the world, didn't you? Louder cries refused to leave my lips. Felt the corners of my eyes grow hot. Terror and despair intermingled in my heart, shackling both my arms and feet.
You're not going to start?
No, I won't. I can't fight you. I couldn't fight her. I just couldn't fight her.
Because you love me?
Probably.
Well, to tell the truth, I too, love you. But my emotions have nothing to do with this. Can't you understand it?
She kept a most serene countenance to the very end. I didn't hesitate and shook my head, exclaiming I indeed couldn't. I don't want to fight you. I just don't want to. I couldn't take a single step towards her, much less dash or swing my sword.
Is that so? And I guess that's that.
Yes, indeed. That was that. She extended her hand and pointed a finger at me. Looked like she had formed a pistol with her fingers.
Bang.
An odd sensation suddenly ran along my left arm. I tried to move it, but it seemed completely paralyzed. I glanced at it and realized what was up right away. My left arm was missing. It was ripped right out of its socket before I knew it. I grimaced at the pain, but somehow managed to fight the instinct to fall to my knees.
Oh, you're not screaming? Impressive. But you should know that yelping and wailing can help the pain.
I don't want to cry in front of a woman I love.
Are you trying to make me embarrassed again? I'm glad you feel that way, but I'm still going to kill you, alright?
I didn't want to die, but killing her was out of the question. All she had to say was one word. All she had to do was ask. I would have betrayed the world for her sake. If only she said that it was alright for me to be at her side.
I'm taking the right leg next.
She smiled, and my right leg tore away from its socket. With nothing to support me anymore, I fell to the ground like a sack of potatoes. The black snow continued to fall. I was sad. I was just sad. I didn't mind turning a traitor, or rather, I wish to turn to one from the bottom of my heart right now. I didn't mind betraying the world, as long as I could be by her side. And a gloom crept into Lilith's eyes.
Yeah, it all would be so easy that way, huh? But you can't do it. There are not many things that are worse than death in this world. That one choice definitely is.
God damn it. She wouldn't even allow me to turn cold. My heart gave up before my body did. I lost any will to survive, so my raison d'etre slipped past my fingers back to the nether. I wanted to live for your sake. I wanted to fight and die for your sake alone. I felt lonesome. Despair coiled around and strangled my soul. I wished to cry. I wished to forget everything in tears. But the cruel reality went on, ignorant of my pleas.
I'm not going to apologize. I mean, I'm on my way to destroy the world, you know.
She pointed a finger at my heart this time.
Setsuna, your death shall mark the start of my war of total annihilation.
Are you seriously planning to destroy everything?
Yes, everyone, angels, demons, humans, will fall dead in my wake. So will God, and Kagutsu Sorami, and Raziel. Oh, I can see you just regained some of your will to fight. Those two are quite precious to you, just as I thought.
I couldn't deny that. Raziel got a clueless fool that I was the same as Lilith did. Sorami the first human I managed to save.
Would you still choose me, if it meant sacrificing them?
I grinded my teeth. No question could be more tormenting than that. Would I still choose her, after she made me like that? I couldn't abandon those two. I couldn't abandon them like this. Wouldn't be able to bear Raziel's sadness and Sorami's tears. My mind would break down.
I see. I'm glad to hear that.
There's relief in her voice. Despite her face turning to a mask of melancholy, she snapped her fingers and my body suddenly returned to normal. What the?
Just acknowledged me as your foe, didn't you? You'll be on your way already. It wouldn't make sense to start the game from the final boss.
You're letting me get away?
Yes, I am. Back to Tokyo Babel. find yourself some comrades. All shall combine your strength to struggle against my omnipotence.
I wish to tell her something. I realized I had no words left. I no longer had the right to address her. I made my choice. I chose to acknowledge her as my foe. It was the right choice. I turned my back to her, proceeded onwards.
Well, it's enough.
I didn't look back. In this part of my voice, I no longer felt sadness. That part of my heart has been locked away under the sturdiest of locks. I forgot her smile. I forgot how she looked when she was sad. I forgot how she cried. I forgot the way she looked when she got angry. All there was redundant information. I couldn't let myself waste away any space on useless data. And so I marched back. I met my comrades and conveyed to them her words. Angels, demons, and humans, we all combined our strength to defeat our greatest foe yet, Lilith. After thousands of battles and countless sacrifices, we would face her again. I would find her again, this time to pierce her heart with my sword. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel it unfortunate. It was a choice I made for myself. And so, my blade finally pierced through her heart.
I guess this is it.
Disappointment in her voice. She crumbled down to her throne. I could see the life leaving her body together with the black blood gushing from her chest.
You did good, Setsuna.
I didn't answer, or rather, I could no longer speak. I long lost my speech function.
Oh, you can't speak anymore? Guess that's my fault too. Sorry.
It wasn't her fault. I just didn't feel like speaking to anyone anymore, so I did away with my voice.
Belial and Sorami are still alive, weren't they? Good for you.
That was the sole thing that still gladdened my heart.
Well, that was the only way I could live. But you know, it's not that bad to spend your last moments with a man you love.
She forced a weak smile. I kneeled before her in silence.
Come over here, Setsuna. You're tired, aren't you?
I haven't been this exhausted my entire life. Is it finally alright for me to cling to you?
There's no helping you.
Lilith let out a weak chuckle, clasping my hand with her ice-cold fingers, resting her head against my shoulder. And so, she forgot herself in this pleasant, warm sensation, not minding the blood still gushing out of her chest.
You were right. You haven't made a single mistake. You made me so glad. I'm so sad.
No, I did make a mistake. I chose the wrong answer to the wrong question. It was too late now. I'd already made my choice.
Night, Setsuna. May you have pleasant dreams.
Good night, Lilith. May you have pleasant dreams. I closed my eyes. Nothing felt like it mattered anymore. Everything had come to an end. Everything had fallen apart. I ceased my thought process. I ceased my life. Now all I had left to hope for were pleasant dreams. And so, the souls of the boy and the girl dispersed into the darkness, unbeknownst to anyone. All that was left behind was an empty throne, a seat for a demon lord that would remain empty of its master forever. Only 2 cadavers would lay on it, without withering away, without rotting, frozen in time, but with peaceful smiles on their lips. In the deepest layer of hell, at the very end of the river wailing, the 2 would remain side by side for all time to come. Those 2 were precious to me. I loved him from the bottom of my heart. Still, nonetheless, it was Lilith's hand that I...
That won't do, Setsuna. You should keep your affection in check. It's going a little bit too far.
She raised her hand pistol. I gave up on everything.
I'm sorry. You're going to die here. End of Setsuna.
A sound reverberated inside my skull. My body jerked from shock. The scariest part? I felt no pain at all. I just comprehended it as just something vital. Apparently I lost my speech function with the blast. I couldn't scream or wail. All I could do was flare my arm in the air with no idea what was going on.
Might have met again if this world still had heaven or hell. Well, it seems this is our eternal farewell. Bye, Setsuna. Bye.
She made a lonesome, sorrowful face. I could not glimpse in it a single hint of regret. There's no way I could have survived having lost my heart. A soul would die in mere moments, or be killed. Killed by her. The hardest fact hit me like a whip. The four senses other than sight had stopped functioning almost immediately, and my vision had already grown faint and hazy. Only my mind still seemed to work at full throttle. What if Lilith was going to go on and destroy the world as she said? There's probably no one left here to stop her anyway. Astaroth, Adam, Eve, Belial, Camael, Raziel, Sorami, you just stood a chance against her. And we would die and return to dust. No words I could come up with would be good enough to apologize to them at all. Should I have chosen to fight and sworn to defeat her instead? A little bit too late to change my mind at this point, though. There's only one part I still don't yet understand. The identity of that hers Lilith had mentioned. My thoughts gave way to white noise. Apparently my time ran out. I spent the last few seconds of my life absentmindedly thinking about Lilith. The few days I had the chance to spend with her were so fun. She taught me how interesting life could be. Huh, I see. I never understood the concept of fun without her. A notion even Naru failed to teach me. I wish I could have had the time to express my thanks to her. The sound of something breaking apart. Something in the deepest layer of my heart. My body had already been deprived of all physical functions. And so must have been a spiritual concept that was about to shatter there. A broken oath. Forgotten promise. A path lost in the darkness. The cracks multiplied, the destruction of my will accelerating with them. I think my heart shattered, dispersing in the wind like flower petals. I hope I could at least feel fear then. Unfortunately, my mind remained composed. I would die and there was nothing I could do about it.
Hey, are you still alive?
Whose voice was that?
Hey, are you dead already?
I opened my eyes at a voice that couldn't possibly be here. The words I no longer had ears to possibly comprehend. The situation made no sense.
Cerberus!
Back away from him, Lilith!
Oh my.
Lilith took a step back with a chuckle.
Mister?
I realized it had almost been too late as I glanced at Samael's face.
Did you come to rescue him? We're a bit too late for that, I'm afraid.
Cerberus! Swallow him! Hurry!
Understood. Hold on, Setsuna, don't move.
Cerberus swallowed 10 franc.
Cerberus swallowed Tendo Setsuna's body in a single gulp.
Are you out of your minds? Why the hell would you eat him for? Did you come here to save him?
That's what we came here for, yes.
I get it. You made Cerberus swallow some sort of time-stopping artifact, didn't you?
Exactly.
Keep going, Frank.
It seemed like a futile plan at first, but with the help of a certain angel and a human they met on the way, the two managed to swipe a relic that could freeze time in a localized area from Astaroth's hands. Even if he, or his most trusted aide, Lucifuge, noticed anything, they seemed to let them get away with it unhindered. All that mattered now was saving the young man.
And I guess he's still alive if he wasn't dead yet. If he wasn't dead yet.
She chuckled to herself. And who could blame her for taking them lightly? This was no rescue, no healing squad. They just delayed the inevitable. The man would die the very moment he left Cerberus's jaws. There was no meaning in what the two had done, unless you counted self-gratification, that is. Lilith realized the cruel fact right away. Meanwhile, Samael, who had been now exposed to her condescending smile, took a few steps back with her giant scythe in hand, glaring at Lilith with almost palpable intent to kill.
Shit. Doesn't seem like I can bear letting you get away. Anyway, anyone but Setsuna is a bit too much for me right now, it seems.
She smiled and glared back at Samael with a killing intent of such ferocity that it almost seemed to summon a visible barrier around the two. An average being would have choked on the tension then and there. Nor was she conscious of this fact. She thought she acted normal, like always. However, she had turned into a beast whose very presence was already a lethal poison to everyone around it. Astonished by the newfound truth, Samael considered Lilith again.
Lilith, what the hell happened to you?
She shrugged.
I don't know how to begin to explain that. I'm still myself. It's just that, well, I guess now I'm somewhat of a different existence from the Lilith that you used to know.
Indeed, her nonchalant manner of speech seemed like that of Pandora's Lilith. At least, she checked out with everything that Tenju Setsuna told Samael. But then, what in the hell was going on there?
Let me guess, you attained some great power and let it get to your head.
Lilith let out a hearty laugh.
Yeah, exactly. I'm totally letting it get to my head right now. And unfortunately, now I'm kind of planning to antagonize and destroy every single one of you.
With that, she made a pistol out of her hand again.
What the hell are you talking about? You want to destroy the world or something now?
Yep. I'm gonna destroy it so bad nothing's gonna be left.
A beaming smile. Samael couldn't help gulping from the tension.
So yeah, basically, Samael, Cerberus, can die now.
She pointed her hand pistol at Samael.
Stop mocking me, you insolent copy!
All Lilith did was make an exclamation of a shock. That was all she did, and yet, Samael's stomach got torn to shreds. Unable to stand, she crumpled down to the ground. Her hands clutching onto her stomach, Samael trembled in pain. Her inside vanished in the blink of an eye, as if ripped away by an invisible beast. Those beyond human didn't really have vital organs, but it didn't mean they didn't need them at all. Samael concentrated her magic on her stomach area, trying to regenerate it.
I'm not going to let you get away, Samael. Go ahead and try running like you always do. Or would you rather plead for your life?
For starters, she fixed the surface wound, but her insides were still a mess. It wasn't that easy to conjure back missing organs. Restraining her fear to mere panic, Samael slowly stood up.
Cerberus, get Setsuna out of here. You can't win this.
She readied her scythe again. Cerberus let out a collective howl from all three of his heads.
But... Samael, what about you?
Her back to Cerberus, Samael erupted in a blaze of passion.
Get out of here! Hurry! Get the hell out of here this instant!
Cerberus didn't waste time on any more idle thought. He turned on his heels, leapt into the air, and dashed towards the darkness. Not turning back, leaving no words behind, just like Samael wished of him. She evened her breathing. Even that required incredible will and strength to achieve at this point. Her animosity towards her foe had long been outstripped by the incredible pain and blood-chilling terror.
Oh, and there he goes. You're the only one staying behind? Well, I could still catch up with them if I wanted to, really. But I think I should respect your bravery here and all that jazz. I'll go after Cerberus only after you fall, okay?
If I fall...
Oh, you weren't seriously thinking you stand a chance or something.
Stone cold laugh. Stone cold eyes. Both of them filled Samael's heart with despair. She couldn't breathe. Disgusting sweat covered her back.
You look like you're afraid to die. Don't you kinda always resurrect anyway?
Yeah.
She lied. Even talking with Lilith had been a terrifying exercise at this point, but at least it was nowhere near as bad as fighting her. The air around Lilith was so tense, she thought she might go mad if she didn't keep her mind busy with digressions.
Oh, could it be that you can't resurrect anymore? Or is it rather that you have to sacrifice something important to come back alive?
Samael cursed herself for being so easy to read. The terror seemed to seize her throat at this point. Could the bitch before her see how bad she was shivering? Of course she could.
No, if you're gonna be that scared, I can just end it all in the blink of an eye if you want. I mean, do you seriously think you can do anything to me at this point? Can't. Not in your current state, at least.
Shut your trap!
If you were the original Samael, maybe you could have put up a bit of a fight or something. A sad thing of being a copy, isn't it? I totally know how you feel.
She made a self-deprecating smile. The undiluted rage instilled by those words in Samael's heart momentarily won against the senses of blood-chilling terror and despair. She parted her lips. Her words escaped her mouth almost by themselves, mechanically.
You're wrong, Lilith. You're wrong.
Oh? What way, exactly?
I admit that that the original Samael might have been able to put up more of a fight against you. If I were the original, wouldn't be here to begin with.
She transformed her rage into iron will. She forgot pain. The sensation of emptiness in her stomach no longer bothered her.
I am the one who decided to be by his side, not the original, or anyone else. There's one thing I'm not letting anyone take from me.
She stopped shivering before she realized it. The pain no longer bothered her. Proving that it was her and no one else's will to be here was more important than anything in this world to the current Samael.
If you want to torture me, then go ahead. As long as I can buy another second of time for him, I don't mind.
Samael's fervor already exceeded the scope of the word sacrifice. She swore to forfeit her life to buy time, time that might as well mean nothing.
I can see you're quite devoted to him indeed. Makes me jealous.
Lilith's smile vanished, along with her scorn and mock indifference. The way she bit her lip in irritation didn't seem to suit the one that had inherited the solemn hatred for the ancients.
Yeah, I can't believe how jealous I am. I loathe to admit it, but it's not contempt that's driving me to kill you now. It's envy.
She made a pistol out of her fingers again. Samael realized that another one was coming. She could at least understand the mechanism behind those abrupt attacks.
Hi in pieces.
All she could do was take it head on. Swinging her scythe had no meaning. Even getting close to Lilith felt like an impossible task. But she was still alive. She managed to buy some time. She still had no idea how it worked. What kind of attack was it? Bang. It was obvious that Lilith's finger pistol had little to do with it. She was playing around to give her attack some extra flavor. What on earth was killing Samael like this? Her body split apart. She was flung aside. That's all she could understand. Pathetic, she mumbled to herself. She crumpled to the ground like a puppet with its strings cut. Her left arm ripped away and vanished, her shoulder missing. Even a part of her neck had been torn away. But her feet were still fine. She could still stand, but that was all. Her giant scythe had long fallen, abandoned on the ground.
Not like I could use it in this state anyway.
Hey, you lost another arm. If you say you give up, I'll destroy your head next. Don't, I'm taking the leg. What's your choice?
Lilith gave her an almost sympathetic look.
Don't you think it's enough? We've brought enough time already. No one's gonna blame you for wanting a release from this now.
Her sweet words yet again turned to poison, tormenting Samael. She bought enough time. Only defeat waited for her after this. Not even in her wildest fantasies could she see herself emerging victorious. She couldn't do anything anymore. She completed her initial goal. Wasn't that enough? Her job here was already finished, so now...
That's what you want.
Bang. Her feet burst apart. Everything from her knees down had vanished. But with this, she finally glimpsed the true nature of Lilith's attacks. Not like that knowledge would help her in any way at this point. She fell. A raison d'etre itself, the concept much more vital than blood or internal organs in this world, seemed to slip out through her fingers. She felt as if all-devouring rust had infected her mind. Losing sight of reality, she forgot where she was. And so, a question. What was the sole goal of the current Samael?
Right. I have to tell him. I have to catch up and tell him.
She turned her back to Lilith. Unable to stand, she began to crawl instead.
Mister.
She could feel her soul trying to vacate this body. Her will was the only thing still keeping her alive. All of her organs had stopped functioning long ago. Her brain kept ordering and reordering the same action over and over again. She thought she had discarded pain and suffering already, but it seemed that the fact of living itself had turned by now to torment, to a curse. Still, nonetheless, there was a person she had to meet, and so she continued to crawl. She'd crawl into the boat and cross the river all the way to Tendu Setsuna.
This is getting really sad.
Lilith observed her foe not with scorn, but with genuine compassion. She seemed to refuse to stop moving. There was no way she could get out of this place alive. Yet she still struggled. He couldn't think of the sight as pathetic anymore. Now it felt beautiful. The struggling girl seemed more dazzling than the best paintings of the most gorgeous of angels.
It's time we said our goodbyes, Samael.
She pointed her finger at the girl's head. She was about to put Samael out of her misery when... She lowered her hand. She glanced at the sky. Didn't look any different from before. The black snow continued its dance in the air. Still, the whole place seemed to almost tremble. Sounds of thunder seemed to reach her from afar. What occurred next was worthy of a cataclysm. Each stratum of Tokyo Babel existed in a completely separate space, hence why all of them had their own well-defined ground and sky. They functioned independently, with only the doors to the neighboring stratums and the shortcut to Pandora connecting them together. And that was why it should have been impossible for him to dive down through the stratums of Tokyo Babel like that. Gaping hole leading to the 6th stratum from the 7th appeared in Shinjuku, and so subsequent holes started appearing one after another in all of the strata, a terrible earthquake following in their wake. 6th stratum, 5th stratum, 4th stratum, 3rd stratum, 2nd stratum, 1st stratum, and finally, stratums. The terrifying beast of the deep sea pierced through supposedly independent mini-universes all the way to Cocytus. Occupying the entirety of the River of the Dead with its humongous shape, his mere existence forced gasps from anyone who dared lay their eyes upon him.
I would have never guessed you could come this far.
Lilith didn't know if she should feel surprised or exasperated. A mighty voice reverberated along the river of wailing, giving birth to violent torrents in the water, dead calm moments before.
Most curious. Long time no see, my dear son.
No way!
A colossal head emerged from the water.
Aye. Long time no see, Mother. Ruler of the actions.
Leviathan!
Leviathan's eyes fixed on Samael. His serene voice fell from the skies.
Samael, I will guide your way. You just press onward.
Thank you.
Samael finally finished her long crawl to the boat. Leviathan let out a piercing howl and the river's flow reversed, launching the boat forward to safety like a missile.
She won't survive with those wounds, you know. I think it would have been more merciful to just let her expire here.
That is something for her to decide. In any case, you who once was Lilith, let us talk a while. I believe we have many a tale to share.
Oh? I don't remember ever stopping being Lilith.
You can keep the temperament and the voice, but with a different raison d'etre, you cannot remain the same as you once were.
I suppose you're right. Maybe I should change my name. Oh, I don't feel like giving up on Lilith together either.
She felt deep in thought for a few moments.
Then how about we combine the names of me and myself together? Hark, henceforth I shall be known as Tiamat Lilith, newest and the oldest god.
Lilith attached to herself the name of the very oldest of deities, and in that moment, she ceased being the Witch of the Night and became God. Tiamat. In the myths of ancient Babylonia, she was the goddess who created the world and everything therein. Her name meaning bitter water, often used in reference to the sea, she mated with Apsu of her inverse qualities, god of fresh water, and gave birth to all the other gods and goddesses in the Babylonian pantheon. Apsu, however, had a distaste for his children and decided to murder them. Catching wind of his schemes in time, Tiamat, showing no hesitation at all, ordered her children to slay Apsu instead. After Apsu's death, Tiamat grew to be revered as the sole omnipotent mother of the earth. But that too was short-lived. Her children eventually grew wary of her uncontested power and decided to rebel and kill her as well. After drawing her last breath, she fell on the land and turned into a river, and thus the oldest god of the oldest legend of the world turned to dust and disappeared into the annals of history. At least, that was how it was supposed to be.
At this, am I supposed to say this word again?
Cyrus.
Cossidus, thank you. This Cossidus, where chaos itself withered away, Tiamat's soul remained embedded. She continued to hate and hate for an eternity.
You can hate all you want, but you ought to at least pick your targets properly. Wasn't it your grandson, Marduk, who orchestrated your fall?
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem here. All those old legends kinda end with old faces. Family tussle, if you will, screwing themselves over in the end. Marduk kills me, and that's it. The truth is different. God by the name of Marduk never existed in the first place. We're all destroyed before any such character came into being. And none other than your mighty God.
What?
Leviathan lost his words for a moment.
I wonder how accurate each legend. I wonder how accurate other legends are. I wouldn't be surprised if most guys and those were actually destroyed by your god as well.
Does indeed make sense. But, Tiamat, haven't you already fulfilled your wish? Shall you not stand down?
The girl smiled and shook her head.
Oh no, I can't. I'll keep destroying everything as long as there exists a single tree or a single patch of grass in this world. I'll destroy everything unless someone destroys me first. I'll kill everyone unless someone kills me first. Those are the sole two options, Leviathan. There's no room for negotiation. So I assume we're done just like that.
Indeed we are.
Let's go ahead and run wild. Let's enjoy pitting our lives against each other. I shall destroy the world.
Then allow me to sever your regrets here and now. You shall disappear from this world with a bang.
Leviathan jerked his neck upward in a vigorous display.
My name is Leviathan, the master of the primordial seas of chaos. Prepare yourself, Tiamat.
Lilith welcomed Leviathan's declaration with an elated countenance.
Ah, this is fantastic. I welcome your challenge with open arms. Come at me. Musmau!
Osiris, the icy river of wailing, began to boil due to being exposed to the power of two ancients. The dragon howled and God raged. A new legend of a new god had begun weaving itself together.
I should have lost my ability to see dreams, yet it seemed I was still seeing one.
Mister, are you alright?
That's probably the furthest one could be from all right. Is this the world after death?
I think all of us are already in a so-called world after death to begin with.
I guess we were. In any case, could you answer a question for me?
Well, what is it?
How are you?
I see. You forgot me. You've already lost your memories.
I'm truly sorry.
Don't worry about it. Maybe it's for the best if you just forgot. Sorry for asking this out of the blue. Do you choose a person you love all the way to the grave if they died?
I wonder. I don't know.
Would you fight back if the person you love tried to murder you? Could you kill her if she tried destroying the world?
That's...
This is a very important question, mister.
She chuckled to herself. If it was a serious question, then I suppose I should pay some thought.
Tell me your answer.
My answer. Would I try to save the one I loved anyway? If she wished to destroy the world? I would try to stop her. I would ask her to tell me why, or explain to her my reasons for stopping her. Over and over again, for as long as it took.
So you couldn't kill her in the end after all.
Yeah. Appears I'm a coward. She probably thought me ridiculous as she gave me a beaming smile.
Mister, if this goes on, you'll die.
That sounds like a problem.
Yeah, and so do something about it. I'll give myself to you. Bestow everything that's important of mine upon you. And in exchange, I'll take a little bit of you for myself.
What are you talking about? She made a smile and pressed her forehead against mine, her face filling the entirety of my vision. Her golden eyes peered deep inside me.
Don't worry, mister. Just do your best to preserve yourself and your individuality. Don't let go of your raison d'etre.
She placed her hands on my cheeks. Eyes looked like those of a loving mother.
Let's become one. You'll be me and I'll be you. So we'll become someone else together.
My thoughts grew fuzzy. I felt as if I had been enveloped by a thin veil. I was losing my sense of reality.
Let's save her. Let's pull something off in order to save Lilith from her desolation. I bet it's gonna alleviate whatever's weighing on her soul.
Lilith. I could remember that name. The only proper noun that still seemed to remain undisturbed within my psyche.
Hey, you still alive?
I remember someone asking me that. I remember that question starting everything. Was I alive? Could I raise my chest high and declare that I was truly alive? I couldn't. I was imagined, manufactured, put onto rails that had nothing to do with my will. A being that was supposed to transcend good and evil as an omnipotent god. Living or not living never truly mattered to my upbringing. Indeed. That's why I felt like crying. I felt I could finally do it. I felt confident I could cry if asked this question one more time. I'm alive. And I could answer like this. I could declare I was alive and my chest held high. For I was now indisputably filled with unadulterated will to rescue her.
Oh, it seems like you've remembered after all.
Samael, why are you doing all this for me? There's nothing I can repay you with. She had no reason to give her life for me. I've done anything to warrant such a sacrifice. She smiled and covered my lips with hers. Before I had a chance to be surprised, she drew back.
Guess most humans would want something in return. Angels don't, mister. Might have fallen, but I'm still one of the divine.
She made a proud smile.
Well, I'm glad just being with you. Sure beats deteriorating into an unusable piece of garbage alone. I think you paid me more than enough just by meeting and being with me.
I'm glad I met you too.
And that's settled, mister. Let's become someone who's everyone but no one at the same time. Let's become someone who can save everything.
Think we can pull it off?
It's not a question of can or can't. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, indeed. She's absolutely right. We will do it. We will pull it through. We shall give birth to a miracle and weave a legend.
And so it's time for us to say goodbye.
Goodbye, Samael. I'd like to meet you again sometime, somewhere.
I guess I'll try wishing for that as well, though I doubt it's possible.
Someone's face took on a hint of red as she drew her lips to my ear.
May our fates weave together. Maybe meet each other again sometime. Somewhere as simple humans in a peaceful world.
She vanished, and I remained. Nay, I was no longer myself. There was no healing or rejuvenation, not some simple regeneration of the body. I fused with her, with an existence other than my own. I become someone else, separated from both mortal and divine worlds. I become an existence that was neither man, nor demon, nor angel. Beyond all the criterions and common sense of the world, I turned into a true apocryphal monster to whom rules no longer applied. heart resumed its motion. My nerve cells came back alive. A fake human, a fake god, and a fake fallen angel. No wonder about its good chemistry. It was a construct of mock copies, amalgamation of debris. And that was why I could still stand my ground. For my feelings for Lilith was the only genuine thing I ever had. I stood up, proceeded onwards, never looking back. For now, that was all I had to do.
Let's go, mister! Let's march onwards and make a mess of their unfair rules. Preconceptions.
Those are Samael's last words. Then let's proceed. I didn't know marching onwards could be so easy, so difficult at the same time. But now, I no longer had any doubts. I had banned excuses and any number of shortcuts to victory. From now on, I would march onwards, no matter the obstacle.
What in the...
Cerberus couldn't believe his eyes as he gazed at existence. Tendo Setsuna had emerged from his jaws.
Wait, what the hell was that thing? A bad joke of some sort. On the surface, he did not look different one bit. His uniform might have been torn in places, dirtier than usual. But that was about it. However, what then was the sensation that made Cerberus shiver like a leaf? If it was fear, he would have long bolted to the horizon. If it was rage, he would have bore his fangs at the man. Was this a kind of veneration? Cerberus didn't know what had happened inside his stomach. What could have possibly occurred there, but he knew one thing. Samael and Tendo Setsuna must have made a great, earth-shattering choice.
Cerberus. Have you heard about my past?
A few words might have reached me, but I don't know the details.
I was given life and raised as a god, yet I abandoned my duty and fled. I always believed I was fighting to atone for that sin. But it was a sin that was born. That running away was my sole crime. That's why I didn't want to put unnecessary emotions into the exercise. Or to fight, save others and sacrifice life. All for redemption. I thought that was the right way for the longest of times.
And I assume you don't anymore.
Yes. Now I want to save others because I want to save them. I finally realized such an obvious and simple thing.
Tears trickled down Setsuna's cheeks. Cerberus uttered a collective sigh with all three of his heads. A concept of utmost simplicity. Yet he certainly had to pass through a long path of thorns to reach such an obvious conclusion. He killed and was killed. He died and led others to death. A path full of cries, curses, and despair. That was the story of his life.
I want to save her. I want to save her from the bottom of my heart. I respect her choice of absolute malice, yet nonetheless, I can't help wanting to save the woman I love.
I see. I commend your will. Indeed.
This is only about Lilith. As Tokyo Babel falls, everyone will have to confront a tough choice. I don't know why, maybe because I merged with Samael, but I have absolute confidence in this revelation.
Setsuna considered Cerberus forthright. The young man's expression no longer had a mannequin quality about it. So did he grow stronger? Nay. Depending on who considered him, some might think he was weaker than before. For now, he was only...
a world saver. Cerberus. Will you help me?
Just a brave boy who made a choice that he knew full well was beyond his power. Realizing this fact, Cerberus let out a hearty laugh from all three of his jaws.
Good. If that is your wish, then no, Setsuna. I shall lend you my back. I can and shall take you to the edges of the world. I acknowledge you as my only master. Mount me and hold the reins tight in your hand. We shall ride together, side by side, through the crimson fields of a myriad battles, till the world is cleansed in the fire of the coming dawn.
Cerberus lowered his back, and Setsuna jumped on with no other words.
Onward, Cerberus!
Cerberus kicked off the ground and bolted into the sky. The two literally rode through high heavens. And so, the last gears started to turn, of a play common to all myths and legends. The absolute end. Revelation. Some worlds called it Ragnarok. Some worlds called it Kali Yuga. But in this world, it had a name of its own. Armageddon, where forces of good and evil, unable to draw a clear line, would clash and destroy everything there was in the cosmos. Gugutsu Sorami couldn't quite tell what exactly had led to this. But even being a relative newcomer to this place, she could still understand that after Lilith and Tendu Setsuna had left, Pandora had began slowly withering away.
I wonder what's going on.
She didn't know anything. After all, she was an outsider. With Setsuna gone after Lilith, there was nothing Sorami could do in this place anymore.
Well, no use crying about it. How about I use the time to prepare a feast for a change of pace instead?
Raziel, despite her looks, was quite a glutton, so even after the other two had gone, Sorami could still find some fulfillment in cooking. Maybe she should make ostrich carpaccio today. Its taste, while relatively simple, had that... She cocked her head. The air around her seemed to suddenly grow chilly.
What is this?
She left the night duty room and glanced around the corridor. It was empty, and while she felt an odd, repulsive air about it, it didn't seem like there was anything dangerous going around. Or so she thought. Her eyes hurt. An odd object suddenly appeared before her, as if printed on the inner side of her eyelids. It looked like a gate of some sort, though she had no idea where or what it was for. It was starting to grow worse. Lately, she'd been assaulted by strange visions of gates at least 7 or 8 times a day. Luckily, the pain wasn't that bad and would always fade away quickly. She tried asking Raziel about it, but the angel locked herself in the library without giving her an answer, leaving Sorami clueless to this day. Now that she thought about it, when was the last time Raziel left the library anyway?
I have no idea what's going on here anymore.
Miss Kagutsu Sorami.
She turned around and gulped at the sight before her.
Good afternoon, Mr. Astaroth, and,
Lucifuge.
The old man gave her a deep bow.
nice to meet you, sir.
Cued by the old man's mannerisms, she too took a bow.
Seriously, what was going on here? Did something happen?
Indeed it did. A thing of utmost importance, both to you and myself.
I had a very bad feeling about this. She forced a smile, began thinking of ways to escape from the tube, but gave up on the idea pretty much right away. After all, her opponents were beings that transcended the common sense of men by a great margin. There was no way she could ever hope to outrun them. She gave up on running away, and fighting was out of the question. In other words, she had no other option but to continue with the conversation.
Something important? I wonder what it could be.
Just like men covet and angels wish, so too do we demons have desires of our own.
Is that so?
I turned this Tokyo Babel into a birdcage.
Birdcage?
Indeed, with me the master, and you all my little birds.
Little birds?
Could you please be a little bit more straight? I have trouble understanding what you're trying to say.
Her sixth sense had been sounding alarm bells for a while now. Covering her ears and bolting might have been the best way to deal with this situation after all.
Yes, you see, an angel bestowed a wish upon me.
An angel?
The purest and most innocent of them all, and so, the one most susceptible to the curse of madness. Aye, 'twas a dreadful end indeed.
There was something wrong with this.
He wished for me to protect Tokyo Babel, and so I did, and so I shall, forever. I protected it from everyone and everything.
She felt that something didn't quite click here, in the worst way possible.
I did my best to keep masters out of the first stratum. I did my best to keep pilgrims out of the seventh.
Huh? Could you give me a minute to compute? You kept pilgrims out?
Astaroth nodded with a smile.
Of course. If pilgrims achieved their goal, then there would be no use for Tokyo Babel anymore.
She got it. She understood it. She comprehended it. This was the identity of the weird contradiction she'd been sensing. Protect Tokyo Babel. The one who'd made that request probably wished him to look over those who'd break through the seventh stratum and meet God in the end. To protect Tokyo Babel until the gates of heaven opened again. He didn't direct his wish at the structure or the concept of this purgatory, but at the pilgrims that ascended its floors. But Astaroth misunderstood that. He was trying to protect the concept itself. Tokyo Babel, in essence, was a stage designed for pilgrims to fulfill their divine mission. That system had to be maintained in perfect order.
I prepared Samael as my trump card, so that the pilgrims could never break through the fourth stratum. everyone would get stuck in between the first and fourth floors, and so Tokyo Babel grew stable.
That wasn't the kind of stability the angel wished for.
So, basically, everyone's just been dancing to your tune all this time?
I just played my flute. It was always your own choice to dance to its tune or not.
Just sophistry.
So, why are you telling me these things?
That was what terrified her most. There was no way that information was for someone in her position to hear. In other words,
unfortunately, it appears the time has finally come for this paradise to fall. A monster whom not even the chorus can affect has emerged. Adam. And with the opponent I prepared gone, he will likely find his way to heaven with hardly a hurdle, though even I do not know what he will find beyond those gates. However, I cannot let Tokyo Babel fall. I made a promise.
he was positively out of his mind. Sorami realized that instinctively. The demon lord who pulled the strings of this Pandora in seemingly utmost calm and composure was, in truth, completely insane.
And this is where I'm going to need your powers.
Powers? What are you talking about, Mr. Astaroth? I have no...
She remembered her eyes in the middle of her own sentence. Noticing her grow pale, a wolfish grin flashed across Astaroth's face.
Yes, that's it. Only your eyes can still find the way to the severed future.
You're surely overestimating me here.
She lied, of course, for she understood now what those gates in her painful visions were. For what else could they be if not?
I spent quite a bit of time wrestling with this in my mind. Should I fall together with Tokyo Babel, protecting it to my last breath? Should I let myself perish alone, or bring everyone else to the grave with me?
He reached out to her. That action alone was enough to paralyze a mere human like Sorami in terror.
Then, how about this? How about we bring Tokyo Babel with us to the future instead?
Transport Tokyo Babel to the future that has yet to see grime and continue their days in monotonic indolence.
Put everything back in order, and have pilgrims continue their travels for an eternity. I cannot see any other way to protect my promise at this point. Wouldn't you agree?
She thought about saying she didn't, but realizing that might as well mean her death in this situation, she kept her mouth shut. Even if Astaroth forgave her insolence, the other demon lurking behind his back most definitely wouldn't.
Could go to Sorami. I need your eyes. Show me the way into the future, so I can subjugate it to my design.
No, she couldn't. No. I see! You sure come up with the most fucked up of things.
What?
Trident suddenly separated Astaroth and Sorami.
Oh, I thought you would show up.
And I sure did.
Belial, you insolent!
Oh, shut your trap, Chancellor. What's up with you getting angry anyway? Shouldn't I be the one fuming here right now? Lucifuge momentarily lost his word at Belial's reprimand. Still, he didn't break his fighting stance. Astaroth considered Belial with cold eyes.
Did I do anything to warrant your anger?
Hey, it's a bit too late to play the fool, Astaroth. There are no fans of abuse of authority around here.
Indeed, you're quite right. But Belial, would you hear my excuse out first?
I won't. You fucked up. Just like Gethel, you learned too much. You thought too much. And went all loony in the end, didn't you?
I am perfectly sane.
All loonies say that.
I have to protect Tokyo Babel. I did so till now, and shall continue doing it from now on.
Belial looked Astaroth straight in the eyes and let out a heavy sigh. God damn it would have been so much easier if the guy was just mad. I see. So you do understand you contradict yourself, but you're still planning to go through with all that nonsense nonetheless. Astaroth made a compromised smile, seemingly embarrassed by being seen through that easily.
You're indeed quite right. I am not a fool. I understand full well that my wish makes no sense.
What is that supposed to mean?
Sorami couldn't help tugging on Belial's sleeve. It means what it says. The guy's alright as far as his head is concerned. It wasn't madness or lunacy or whatever that made him do this. It was no misunderstanding. Astaroth wasn't as foolish as to not understand the true meaning of his friend's words. He instead willfully chose to misunderstand, for the sake of his friend, for his sake alone. He thought it through with iron logic. He discarded sense with the clearest of minds, and now he's fighting a fool's battle with his wits still perfectly about him. Ain't I right?
You are right indeed. I could clearly see how many lives would be lost because of my design, how the world might very well fall.
He shrugged.
It would have been much easier if I truly just went mad. If I had just failed, ruined myself in the middle, things wouldn't have come to this.
Everything went so well. Everything went too well, as if some invisible power had been guiding his hand.
Belial, I feel tired of living on logic and reasoning these days.
I can relate to that. It gets tough after the first few thousand years.
To not forget my nature as a demon, I schemed and tricked that angel through cold reasoning alone. Even managed to put him out of his misery in the end. At the same time, I became his friend and exchanged a promise. Just words. I didn't sign a contract or anything. Yet, I don't know why, but I just felt like protecting that promise no matter what, and at any cost. If logic ever abandoned me, then it was there on that point alone. His promise existed for me somewhere beyond the depths of reasoning. It was one thing that felt absolute to me. An incomprehensible instinct. It moved me forward like most potent of
Sorami alone understood the true meaning hidden behind his confession. She understood it. She comprehended it. It was an emotion that everyone had felt at least once. But that might have been the very reason why Astaroth couldn't comprehend it.
Hence, get out of my way. I won't give up. I shall make Tokyo Babel anew.
Give up, Astaroth. The future doesn't need Tokyo Babel. Our sins have been washed away.
I don't care.
You don't care, huh? The two now knew where they stood. Lucifuge glared at Belial, ready to jump at his throat at any moment. But Astaroth took a step back instead.
Camael, you should learn how to conceal your anger better.
Sorami stole a glance behind Astaroth's back. A couple of meters away stood Camael, his gun pointing at the Demon Lord.
What good would concealing myself do when you'd notice me anyway? I can't aim at your head with precision from further away, and there's nowhere to hide at this distance.
Lucifuge took a step forward to cover Astaroth's back with his own body. Astaroth made a placid smile.
Camael of absolute justice and the worthless Belial. Might be a bit too much for Lucifuge and myself to handle alone.
It would definitely make matters simpler if you just surrendered.
Oh, will you grant me my life?
No. I'll shoot you dead.
That didn't sound very nice, Sorami remarked in her mind.
Then I suppose I have no choice. It's time for us to pull our Joker card.
Astaroth snapped his fingers. What?
What?
Come forth, Uriel!
Camael and Belial froze at the sound of that name. The next moment, a gaping hole tore open the corridor's